Well, welcome to the second part of Monday Special, and I'm standing in for Janet Mbogwa. Now, when we witness and experience a traumatic event such as an act of violence, we are affected mentally, emotionally, whether we are personally involved or we have family and friends who have been injured or killed, rescue workers, healthcare providers, or even if we learn about the event from the news, we are affected in one way or another. Now, tonight, I will be chatting to Cynthia Cherotich. You may have seen her in the news. We covered her just yesterday. A survivor from Garisa University who managed to survive by hiding in a wardrobe and surviving on body lotion as well. Thank you so much, and it's quite an act of bravery for you to join us this evening and share with us your experience. Dr. Catherine Mutisia. She's a psychiatrist, and she'll be shedding light on how we can begin the healing process of trauma. And also we have Rachel Muraya, who's a survivor from Westgate, and specifically from Rachel we'll be learning how she managed to survive that situation and how she got here today. Quite a learning experience, and we're looking forward to that. Nerias Rono, also a survivor from Garisa University, a first-year student, and he'll be sharing with us exactly what he went through. Remember, the purpose of this interview tonight is basically to discuss how can we as a nation heal, how can we as family heal, and how can we as people around those who have been affected by this situation help them to begin the healing process. Cherotich, let's just start off with you, and of course your story has been, you know, in the news over and over again, but just for the sake of those that haven't heard, do tell us what exactly happened on that day. Where were you?
Okay, actually the terrorist attacked our school on Thursday. It was around 5:30. By that time I had woken, and then I went to class. We had there was no lights in the room, even in the hostels and some classes. Then when we went to the class, we go to another classes, and then we read for some time. And then some members of the CU came and then tell us that there are no lights in the theater hall where they normally pray. And then we moved to the other class now to read. And then over suddenly we had the gunshots, the bullets. There were the gunshots they were running out the bullets. Now we came out to check what is happening outside. Then now we start running to the hostel. In the hostel, the students, some students had woken up. Now, those who had woken up started now screaming, asking what is happening. Some were not aware what is happening in the hostels. So I went to my hostel. Some of my roommates were still sleeping, and then I told them, now we are unsafe. So we started hiding in the underbeds. And then over suddenly those people came and tell us, now if you have hidden, just come out. And then I said, now what will I do? Then I moved to the wardrobe, the top wardrobe, and then I hid there. And then I covered myself with some clothes. Then after some time, those people came into my room. No, they started at the second floor, and then they told the student to go to the ground floor. And then when they came now to my room, they found the two students, my colleagues. They were sleeping in the underbeds. And then they told them to move out with their laces and the handbags, not the bag. And then they go out. And then I remained in the room. Now when they were in the outside, they tell them to sleep. And others, those who know how to read how to recite the Quran, to go to the other side, and those who don't know, to sleep. Now they were shooting everywhere, the wardrobes, everywhere. Now, and then they start shooting those students who were sleeping on the floor. And then after that, I had now some aeroplanes. Then I say maybe those are the Al-Shabaabs. They are increasing the number. Then I kept quiet for a long time. And then in the next, I don't know if it was the third day or the next day, I felt hungry and felt thirsty. So I drank the lotion. There was lotion because there was nothing for me to eat. So I drank the lotion, and those lotion didn't affect me. The only thing which affected me was the heat. There was high temperature in that place because Garisa is a place where there is high temperature. Now, the day now which I was gotten was on the Saturday morning. I was gotten by the police, but I didn't believe that those were the policemen because they had warned the civilians. So I asked, they told me, come out, madam. Then I told them, just kill me here because if it was my day, I will die here. Then they told me, come out, you are safe because we are the Kenyan police. Then I told them, now, if you are the Kenyan police, where you don't have the uniforms. Then they brought one police, and then I told them, no, maybe you are trying to convince me that this is our Kenyan police. Then they brought Mr. Professor Mwayuli, our deputy principal. And then now I was aware that I am in safe hands. And then I was not able to come out because my legs I was feeling painful, and I was having some heat rashes in my skin, my face, everywhere. So they removed me from that place, and then I asked them to give me water, but they refused. They said if we give you the water, it might increase those things in the, I don't know what they were saying. And then now they took me to the hospital, Garisa Hospital.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, teacher, for sharing with us your story. Nereus, you were also at the university at the time. Do tell us, just recount for us exactly what happened, where you were, what you had, and how you managed to escape.
Okay. When the attack began, I was still sleeping. I was sleeping with my friends in the room. It was 5:40 somewhere there. So when I had the gunshots, I tried to come out. I tried to move down floors, but it was very full. Everybody was rushing there. I decided to climb where others were climbing to hide on top of the roof. But it was very late, and I was not able because the place, that wall was very smooth. I was not able to. So when I saw that what I was trying to do was very late, I just decided to go back to the room and hid under the bed with my two friends. I went under the bed, then my friend followed me. So I was in the wall, and my friend was following me. So I began now thinking of what was happening and started praying at that moment. And I was hearing those people coming, shooting room per room. They were going room by room, shooting everybody in the room. When they came to our room, I saw there were two, and they told each other, the other one told the other to check under the beds. Checking under the beds, they saw us. I think they saw my friend and started shooting him. And my friend, I think he died on the spot because I did not see him. I did not see him waking up. I think he died also, I don't know. So when they shot, and I decided to just go to the other bed, under the bed of the other bed. And that person heard that there was somebody moving under the bed. He also came to me and told me, "Are you coming out?" I told him no.
So you spoke with them?
Yeah, I spoke with them. So when I told him I'm not coming out, he told me, "If you come out, we will kill you." When I heard that, I went back. I went back to where I was sleeping, but they did not hear when I was coming back. So they pointed the gun towards where I had gone earlier and shot the one bullet. And they assumed that they have killed me because I decided to keep quiet. So when they assumed that they have killed me, they went out and told each other, "We are through with this room, let's go to the other room." So when they went to the other room, I woke up and I went to the wardrobe. In the wardrobe, I stayed there for 1 hour. In the wardrobe also, I think I texted my mother.
You had your phone with you?
I had my phone, and it was in silent mode. So I texted her to tell her that to pray for me because we were not safe. I stayed from 6 to 7 there, around 7. When I heard some people running in the down floors, I decided to come out to check whether they were students or the police, because in my mind those were not the Al-Shabaabs. In my mind, so my mind was telling me those were not the Al-Shabaab. I don't know now what I was thinking they were. So I came out, and when those KDF officers saw me, they called me, and I went over to them, and they took me to the hospital.
All right. Thank you so much, Nereus, for sharing your story. And we'll be coming to you, Rachel, in just a moment. But I want to rope in Dr. Catherine at this point. What is usually the first trauma experience? What does it do to somebody? Just after listening to Cherotich and Nereus recounting their stories there, what is usually the first exposure to trauma? What does that do to you as a person?
When somebody is exposed to such severe trauma like what happened at Garisa shootout, different people would react differently. There are people who might go into denial, like Nereus tells us he didn't believe it was Al-Shabaab at some point. There are other people who might become numb and just freeze. And the other people who actually might get very hungry, get very scared. Some people might even still run, and even as the shootout is going on, and they could actually be shot. So some people get confused. So different people would react differently. But the good thing is that out of all the people who are exposed to severe trauma like that one, not everybody who would be very sick to the extent of needing treatment. 70% would go through the normal reaction, shock, denial, anger, bargaining, then finally acceptance and recover. But unfortunately, there are the 30% who could actually go into stress disorder and will actually need treatment. So it would be very good that we observe everybody who has gone through trauma, support them, and let them understand what they might need to watch out, and the people who live with them, let them understand what is it that they need to watch out, and if the symptoms of acute stress disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder appear, then they'll need treatment. All right.
Yes. And of course we'll come to that in detail so that you can tell us what are some of the symptoms that we who are living around the survivors, can look out for in that event. And Rachel here, who was a survivor at Westgate, perhaps now has, can look back and tell us how she did manage to, to get out of that that post-traumatic stress, so to speak. But you told us before the interview that you actually did not go through any counseling. Just briefly tell us exactly what happened at Westgate and how you managed to get out.
It was on Saturday, the 2013, on September 21. It was around like 12:30, heading to 1. I myself work at Ashley's. Ashley's was at the second floor parking. That's the time. It was not that busy that Saturday, but around afternoon we had some shootings all over the mall. First thing that got into my mind, for me, I thought there were thieves who had come to steal the bank that was on the ground floor. And the shooting continued so severe, and we couldn't think even one time that Al-Shabaab could come to the mall, because the mall was just a beautiful mall in this Kenya. That's what I can say. So I myself decided to run. I moved out from the salon that was at the second floor. I went towards the parking area that was near Java, and that's the time still we had some shooting. We didn't know that they could come from the parking lot, and I had myself that I was thrown a grenade both on my feet. My left foot, my right foot, I got amputated. I don't have fingers, and my right foot, I got some shrapnels. That's what I underwent.
Okay, but you told us that you didn't go through any counseling. Why did you choose not to go through any counseling, or it just happened that you didn't go?
For me, to be sincere, I didn't go any counseling. First, my family is a Christianity. My dad and mom are saved. We've brought up in a very Christianity way. And for my faith, I didn't believe that counseling can help me. One thing I only say, it's only God who knows where you are. From that day I was rescued until where I am today, because for me, I just can say, and it is only God who can remove you from that place to where you are today. If you have the faith in Him, that's what I can say.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel. Doctor, clearly there's a very thin line between religious beliefs and what counseling is supposed to do. Perhaps you can address that for us just before we delve into further conversation on how to deal now with post-traumatic stress, if indeed somebody has gone through it.
Okay, I would also want to really emphasize that counseling might not actually be formally done, because even as Rachel was getting the medical care, as the nurses talked to her, the doctors talked to her, explained to her about the foot, and talked about day-to-daily, are you in pain?
There was some level of
did you sleep well? Did you... That, to me, I would say there was a bit of some observation and some counseling, which could have also helped her. But again, we know that prayer is one of the psychotherapies some people would benefit from, and even counseling can come even from pastoral care. And but it would be, it's very good that people accept support, social support, whether it's from your family members, whether it's from a counselor, whether it's from a nurse, whether it's from a doctor. It's okay to not want to talk about it initially. It's okay to not want to be asked about it. On the other hand, there are people who would want to talk about it, so different people would react to the trauma differently, but we always advise people not to try and push away support, whatever kind of support. Even if you don't feel like talking, allow loved ones to just be there for you. Let them assist you with the physical needs. Like I'm sure Rachel in the hospital, there was a nurse who would help her with feeding, with showering, with her even contacting family members. She tells us our family members were in Mombasa. Even that practical help, contacting your family members, making sure that they know you are safe, whatever is needed in the hospital, is that practical support. Physical support is very important in recovery, but and the medical aid, of course. The counseling, self-talk therapy might not be very important for everybody unless you've gone through acute stress disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder.
All right, Cherotich, let's just bring it into the conversation. When you left and were taken to the Garisa hospital, did you go through any sort of counseling? Did somebody talk to you? And what did they tell you?
I was taken in the not Garisa, but in
Kenyatta Hospital.
Yeah, where many people came to talk to me, convincing me, and others advising me.
Okay. Did you feel at any one point that you need more professional help apart from what you received at Kenyatta? Now that perhaps you're going home, do you feel that you need to speak to somebody about what you went through?
I think I am okay, because I was not affected so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Nereus? When you left, did you go through any sort of counseling? Did somebody talk to you?
In Garisa Hospital, I was just treated there.
Yes.
And released on Friday. I was airlifted to Kenyatta National Hospital on Friday. And in the hospital, I was treated where I had an injury in the elbow, but it was not so serious. I was treated and discharged, but before being discharged, there was a counselor who attended to me and spoke to me to accept what has happened and deal with stress.
Okay. What would you tell the two in that case, where both she has mentioned that she feels that she's okay, she probably will not need any counseling because she survived, and Nereus also says he went through some sort of counseling in the beginning. What would you tell them at this point?
I'm happy that they are coping well, because it would be, we are happy when we see people coping well, but it would be very good that they observe look out for probably signs of re-experiencing the whole terror again, which might even be interfering with sleep. They would also need to watch for what we call hypervigilance, where probably a slight noise would make you jump or run because you imagine that the same terror could be happening again. They could also watch out for avoidance, because probably moving near going near a university brings them the memories. So when they start seeing some of those things, then they need to seek assistance. Interference with sleep, if they discover they are not able to sleep, their appetite is not good, or if the anger becomes too much to the point where somebody would think of harming others or harming themselves. So those are the things to observe, and it would be very good also for their family members who can watch out, and if they see some of those symptoms, again, it would be good for them to be reviewed after a week by a mental health provider to just see whether they are doing well, because we know there are people who might not develop post-traumatic stress disorder immediately. It could even develop after a month, after 6 months. We've had people who have worked in the army, and when they are retired 30 years later is when they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. But I would also want to emphasize that not everybody will suffer the condition.
Yes.
Majority will recover and move on well with the social support given at home and given at as they get the medical care.
All right.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. We're taking a short break now. We've been talking to Dr. Catherine Mutisia, who's a psychiatrist, Cynthia Cherotich and Nereus Rono, who are both survivors from Garisa University attack, as well as Rachel Mariah, who's giving us a look at how she moved on, or rather how she has taken on the healing process after the Westgate incident. Don't go too far. We'll be back right after this break to find out the way forward and how you, as somebody who's in the lives of these people who have survived the attack, can help in their healing process. Welcome back to Monday Special. We're speaking to survivors of Garisa University, and more importantly, as well as Westgate, and more importantly to Dr. Catherine Mutisia, a psychiatrist, who's basically letting us in on how we as Kenyans, as family and as friends of people who have survived a traumatic event can help them through the healing process. And we've got a message coming in, Dr. Mutisia, from Southern Sudan, a gentleman who doesn't say his name. But he says every time he was in Southern Sudan when the chaos started, and every time he hears any noise, he sort of recoils and goes back into that traumatic mode. What advice do you have for him?
My advice would be that he needs proper treatment, which will include both psychotherapy, what we call talk therapy, and depending on the severity, he might need some medication as well, because it means that he is actually suffering some of the symptoms of what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. Probably he is also re-experiencing the whole trauma again. I don't know whether he gets to avoid. I don't know how he has been coping, because we also, some people would cope through either drugs, either prescribed and prescribed drugs. They buy over-the-counter medication. Some people will even resort to alcohol, and I don't know whether his work or personal social life at home is affected. So I think the beginning point would be for him to have an evaluation, which will now guide towards what kind of treatment he will need.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Cherotich and Nereus are both going home tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, back to their families, away from, you know, from the spotlight, away from, you know, the journalists, if I may say that, away, you know, away from the spotlight and back home. How do the people at home now help them through the recovery process? Because sometimes as human beings, you might want to ignore, thinking it might make them feel better. But how should, you know, their families and the friends and the community where they're going to, you know, respond to them?
Okay. The most important thing is to let them heal at their pace. And watch out for any serious symptoms. So far they are doing well, but we know that symptoms could start coming up later, so we should need to watch that. Let the family members make sure that they are comfortable in terms of their eating well, they are sleeping well. Watch out for like self-destructive behaviors like drinking, excessive drinking and all that, and watch out for the symptoms of stress disorders, which will include like that hypervigilance, like small noise would actually make them jump or run away, or if they keep re-experiencing those memories again, or if they avoid to even get out of the home because they are scared something bad might happen. Some might even get scared of going back to college. So those are things to observe, or any sadness, excessive sadness, any tearing, or even the opposite, which would be withdraw. They don't want to talk to anyone. They would want to lock themselves up. So I would say let them be there. Let's avoid forcing them to talk if they don't feel like talking. Like Rachel here says, when she was at that moment, she didn't feel like talking. So we respect. For those who might not want to talk, let's respect that. For those who want to talk, let's be there to listen to them. Again, Kenya being we are majority Christians, there is the temptation to keep telling them that you need to forgive now and now. We need to let them go through the 4 stages. The denial, the anger. If you catch them at the anger where they are bitter with the perpetrators, and at that time they are going through that stage and you're telling them, no, stop saying that, forgive them, that will actually be interfering with the normal recovery. Let them go through the process, and once they have reached the stage of acceptance, then now that's the time now would assist them to forgive and heal. We know that forgiveness also has medical benefits, so it would be good to eventually have them reach there. But for now, let them heal normally. Let us observe for any signs of stress disorder, and if it's there, I'm happy. Cynthia says she's been given an appointment for review. Nereus has told us he hasn't been given an appointment. Again, the medical staff who are taking care of them, they are able to assess and see if you are very sick, then they'll not discharge you. And sickness applies to both physical and mental. So for those who appear like they'll need nearer appointments, they are given nearer appointments. For those who might not be given appointments at Kenyatta National Hospital or even at Garissa, it would be good for their family members to have them reviewed by the nearest doctor after a week to just see how they are doing.
All right.
Yes.
Rachel, just maybe as a word of advice to Cherotich and Nereus here, what can you tell them now that they're going back home and will begin to deal with these issues on their own, perhaps?
Maybe I can be different from them.
Of course.
Yeah, everyone has a different heart. For me, what I did on the first day after Dr. Abbas Gulay rescued me from the rooftop parking, I just said to my heart, God forgive them because they don't know what they are doing. Then secondly, after I saw my legs on the grenade which was thrown on both my foot, I just accepted who I am and I just gave myself courage, and I made a word by myself that one day, one time, as the day like yesterday I was standing and today I'm lying down here to be taken to bed rest, one day I will stand on my foot, and that's where I am today. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And Dr. Mutisi, I just want to raise one more issue before we wind up. During this time, after the Garisa University and Westgate as well, social media and the impact of that on, you know, just the apprehension it causes, the euphoria it causes to Kenyans, sending pictures of, you know, the gory pictures of victims or those that were alleged attackers. What does that do to our psyche? And, you know, what do you have for Kenyans who are part now of that communication cycle?
Yeah, I would encourage everybody to reduce that exposure. You know, there are people who are tempted to sit at the TV throughout the day and just watch everything which happens concerning the tragedy. That continuous exposure, especially for somebody who witnessed or who was involved in this tragedy, is not good for them. So as much as you might not control the world, what is sent on the media, on the social media, and also in the mainstream media, as a person you can control how much time you are going to spend on Facebook, how much time you are going to spend on TV, because the more you keep exposing yourself, the more recovery will take longer. So as much as when such a thing happens, social media, you can't control what people will put, but I would also urge the media to actually be sensitive and only show what they are allowed to show, because they know the extent they should go. But we also realize there are people who took pictures with their own cameras and they are not affiliated to particular media houses and they are circulating them. So we might not have control over that. It's upon each one of us to say, I cannot just watch all these things throughout the day and control the amount of time you spend on the media.
All right, thank you so much for your insights. Cynthia Cherotich, Nerias Rono, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your stories, which is, of course, very brave of you. And Rachel Mariah, thank you so much for sharing yours as well and just helping us guide those that have gone through the same on how they can move on. Thank you so much for your thoughts. We'll be right back with Hussein. Just read comments from you. First, let's take some of your comments coming in through the social media platforms. From Twitter at Lavenda Munga, you say traumatized people ought to be handled with care, spoken to quite often and advice. The hashtag, of course, was Monday Special KE. And it's _JMO, you say cancelling is essential. Eventually, even if it's for reassuring purposes, it would be best to consider. Thank you so much for your thoughts. It's JMO. And at Mark
Dakakas, if you are traumatized, don't wait. Go and seek help, and the earlier the better. And at Alicia Lazy, dealing with trauma is not easy. It needs time and the heart to recover and heal from it. Right, and of course for our guests we thank you and wish them all the best. Of course we all know it wasn't easy even for them to talk about their experiences, but of course we wish them the best. And it's good to have you in the show, Torian.
Thank you so much, Hussein, and thank you so much for coming, our guests tonight. It's been a pleasure to host you, and we pray that as you go out there you will be well. Daktari, thank you so much for your thoughts.
Well, thank you for watching Monday Special. I'm Hussein Mohammed. Hopefully Janet Bogo will be with us next week, but of course she was ably represented by Terry, and thank you again. Thank you for watching Monday Special. I'm Hussein Mohammed. Have a good night.